Hello everyone and welcome to, this is going to be the Winners Bracket Semifinals, one of the matches from the Improvement Cup. As I was just explaining to Twitch viewers, the Improvement Cup has been a tournament that's been going on for the last month. It involves a host of intermediate players being paired with a professional player and seeing who can improve the most over the course of this 1 month long tournament. The teams in this matchup are going to be NC and TaToH's Professors. NC is, I would say, definitely on the higher end of the intermediate spectrum, as they have been competing with a lot of clan tournaments for many years. The other team, TaToH's Professors, probably more of a conglomeration of people that probably haven't played as much before, but TaToH's coaching them and seeing how far they can improve. And other pro players are involved in this tournament, such as Fire and Nikov, which maybe you've seen some of their games on their channels. One reason I wanted to cast these games is not only has this tournament not gotten a lot of attention, which it should, and not only do we not see a lot of intermediate players as well get their games casted, but these maps are highly unique, and the map we're playing on right now is called Prodigy. Zoom up the speed to 60 speed. So on this map, let's introduce the players. We have green, teal, blue, and orange. So we have the players that are allied with each other right next to each other. And yeah, it's a pretty crazy map. So it looks exactly like Arabia, except for the difference in the spawn position, which I'm really excited to see how this will impact gameplay. There are no true pockets any longer. And I'm guessing all players will just go aggressive, but I'm not really sure. And that's part of the fun of this map. We'll see what the players do. The wood lines are fairly bad. They look like a lot of the African Kingdoms maps where the wood lines are terrible. But the acacia trees again have 150 wood. Let's introduce the players and then we'll talk about the civilizations. So, in green we have Philip playing, this is going to be the NC team. Philip playing as the Mongols. Philip's about an 1800 level player. We have J Squared playing as the Spanish, again around 1800 level. In blue, we have Pedro playing as the Goths, about 1900 level player. And Eru, who's a player I'm not familiar with, but he's playing as the Koreans. I would assume he's around 16, 17, or 1800. Wide range, I know, but that's the best I can do. For TaToH's Professors, we have Peter Pan playing as the Berbers. Empathy 2016 playing as the Khmer. Havoc playing as the Ethiopians. And Chaos to Win playing as the Burbies. I'm not sure of this team's rating. However, I'm rather sure that they're less highly rated than the NC team. So maybe TaToH's influence can help them out a bit. Hopefully that training has paid off. The civilizations are interesting. Another interesting thing, again, there are no pockets, there are no flanks, so I don't think the civilizations you choose have anything to do with that status, which is interesting. And let's talk a bit about these civilizations. Philip playing as the Mongols. The Mongols, I think, honestly, are probably one of the strongest teams just in this game in general because they are so strong on team games. Everyone's scout will have two extra line of sight. They'll be great with the scout rush, and they'll also be good when it comes to Mangadai in the late game. So I love the Mongol civilization. It's a civilization we see so much, so I won't talk too much about them. Spanish, again, another great team game civilization, primarily due to their trade bonus and a huge versatility in their units. Great cavalry. Their blacksmith upgrades are free. And Conquerors, of course, would be a great unit as well if they decide to go that route. Stone is in the back in case the J Square decides to go that route. On the other side, we have Pedro playing as the Goths. The Goths are not a civilization we see often on any setting. They get decent knights, but the problem with the Goths is they get no eco bonuses, and eventually they'll transition to either Huskarls, Champions, or Halberders. So those units are not the strongest in team games. So I'm interested to see what happens with the Goths. The Goths are one of my favorite civilizations, so I certainly would like to see them succeed. And then Eru playing as the Koreans. Typically with Koreans, you think about a tower rush. This map is impossible to tower rush on because look how long it's going to take Eru to get across the map. That's just not going to happen. So with the Koreans, I'm expecting to see either war wagons, maybe some knights, some heavy siege in the late game, or just, to be quite honest, a sling. And we see a lot of walls up early. So I'm going to stay on Eru's point of view, see if he is going to in fact sling resources. And perhaps same thing with Pedro. In gray, we have Peter Pan playing as the Berbers. Yeah, I'm sorry, the caster's command is not working right now. My name's Nobody. It's in the title. In gray, we have Peter Pan playing as the Berbers. The Berbers are one of the strongest team game civilizations. Interestingly, walling a lot for the NC team. So the Berbers get cheaper knights. That's great. And they also get a great unique unit. And their unique tech is pretty good too, with all team castles working faster. In yellow, we have Empathy playing as the Khmer. The Khmer, I think, are extremely strong civilization on these team game types of maps because their elephants are so damn strong in the late game. Abbott playing as the Ethiopians would be a great flank, but there are no typical flanks here. Great archers, great siege. But that said, you probably want a civilization with great knights considering how far the rush distance is. And in red, we have Chaos to Win playing as the Berbers. Good cavalry, great unique unit, and a good economy, and some pretty good infantry as well. Now, just thinking about these civilizations. Oh, in this tournament, Sling is not allowed till Imperial Age. Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay. That's a great thing to know. Thank you for reminding me. Welcome, everyone, to the chat. Welcome. And what I wanted to say is... Oh, greetings from Hamburg. Hello, please be gentle. I haven't seen you stream in a long time. Watching your Black Forest casts. But welcome to the stream. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that cavalry is going to be heavily, and mobile units are going to be heavily favored on this map. I don't see archers working out. Just archers are going to be too slow to move across the map to get a good rush off. So that's not going to favor civilizations like the Ethiopians. I don't know how the Goths will fare. And I think if civilizations want to go for their unique units, then we could possibly see that because this is more of a defensive start. So Fast Castle coming up from Empathy. This is not the meta nowadays in a regular Arabia matchup for the pockets to go Castle Age. But certainly on this map it is. Market coming up from Eru. I'll take your word that Sling is not allowed, so I'm guessing that's just to get up to the next stage. And a lot of players are up to the next stage really quickly. Some players have gone scouts, but if you take a look at the KD ratio, there's only been 1 or 2 kills. Probably a scout battle. So not a hell of a lot going on. And these are always so hard to wall. Looks like that's fully walled, though. So Havoc is going to go Ethiopian Crossbowmen. That'll be a nice combination with the Burmese Knights, possibly. But again, it's going to take forever for those crossbowmen to move out across the map. Philip's going to attempt to get through this house wall, but that's not going to work. A lot of players going it with markets early. It's not something you typically see. It might be for the free cartography as well. Welcome to the stream, Don Pa. Welcome, everyone. Everyone's so active in the chat today. Oh, there's a gold that's stuck in there. Oh, boy. So now that players are getting up to the Castle Age, honestly, we'll probably see some knights. I guess we'll see some crossbow, maybe some unique units, but mostly I expect to see some booming. And even Stonewall's coming out of J squared. That means J squared has to be on Stone, which means he's most likely going to go for his unique unit. And hopefully we'll see some action from that. A lot of Stone from J squared. And there's that castle. So that'll get scouted right away from Chaos to Win. And how much damage Conquistadors can they do on this kind of map? I think they could do an okay amount of damage. There are resources in the back of both players' maps. However, those resources won't last forever, and certainly are going to be wanting to move towards some of these more forward resources, such as the wood, stone, and gold, where Conquistadors can do some damage. So just waiting for that castle to get up. It looks like J Squared's not in any rush to put it up. We only got three villagers working on it, although they are Spanish builders. And all the players, I'm sure, will add some town centers. Any player not up to the Castle Age? It doesn't look like. It looks like every single player is up to the Castle Age. Crossbows moving out for Havoc, as well as, looks like a few scouts from Philip. Ah, that's for the other team. Castawin's not quite in Castle Age, so no knights from him. So let's see what these crossbows can do. Chaos to Win has got a great scout off on J Squared's map, so I'm sure those crossbows know exactly where they want to go. If they come here, they could potentially deny this wall off. We'll see if they're going to be in time. If they deny that wall off, then you could potentially come up on top of this hill and deny the gold and deny some of this wood. And that would be very annoying. We'll see what these Conquistadors can do. No upgrades on them, but they're very strong as is. And these scouts will get a single villager and keep that wall open. And I think if you're Chaos to Win is just going to get a scout off, but I think I would stay in this area and try to support the crossbows when they come in. Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a villager in here, especially with those scouts so weak. However, here comes Havoc. If this is re-walled, oh, that's a disaster. That is a disaster. Poor team play, in my opinion. So those scouts should have not ran in. They should have stayed here and kept this wall open as long as possible for those crossbows to come in. Now the crossbows are going to come towards the bottom. I think they still will be able to get in. We'll see. And at the bottom side of the map for the NC team, just a lot of town centers. And for the other teams, we have a castle for Chaos to Win, so he's going to go for some of his unique unit, the Rimbai. Archer still being made by Havoc. And on the right corner, a lot of town centers. This is the only part of the map where there's any action whatsoever. Looks like they'll get through those palisade walls. That stone wall is not built, but there are a lot of Conquistadors out. And these crossbows, sure they fire faster, but they only have +1 attack and range. So they'll get cleaned up fairly easily. That really wasn't working for Havoc. That was a big missed opportunity with those scouts. That's a big investment to make crossbow. This map heavily favors economy, in my opinion. So that investment, I mean, what can you do with 2 archery ranges, a blacksmith, and that many archers upgraded to crossbow? You could have had a lot more economy out if you chose to invest into it. Havoc only getting bowsaw and horse collar right now. So his economy's not doing so well. Those archers did not pay themselves off at all. And now, Havoc will have to play defensive as these Conquistadors and Knights move out. Early hand cards being researched for a lot of players. I guess we'll see some Arambai versus Conquistadors. It's a pretty even matchup as long as the Arambai can get in under the range of the Conquistadors. Let's see where these Conquistadors go. J-Squared has not seen that castle, remember. Here's the Fog of War of J-Squared. Maybe he has seen it. So hopefully he shouldn't run into that castle. Maybe he's going to try these weak palisade walls, but there's a nice gate behind it. Not sure if this is walled off right here. Double walled. And J-Squared telling his teammate, Philip, that this is a weak point in the wall. So Philip's going to go for the palisade gate when they in fact need to go for that house. Looks like this builder will wall behind. And the Rimbai might be able to push this away. So going to get in under the castle. Looks like it'll be enough to wall behind. First player up to the Imperial Age is going to be Pedro, the Goths player. Now, Pedro has not made any military at all this game. In fact, he went market and blacksmith. So, what a great boom from Pedro. I guess we're going to see the Goths do something. Conquistadors destroy a Rimbai in even numbers, do they? I think it really depends on the numbers involved. Conquistadors actually get weaker, I think, the longer the game goes as more units become massed, because their fire rate is much slower. That's the big weakness of the Conquistador. Let's see how this fight goes. So it looks like Chaos to Win's going to push back those Conquistadors for now. Those Conquistadors, no upgrades. Rimbai have bloodlines and +1 armor. So that was probably the difference in this fight. First castle for Pedro. You only need 1 castle as the Goths to get your unique technologies. And then after that, you just need some barracks. So Pedro's getting ready for some Huskarl spam, I guess. So that'll be great. You don't see that too often. Pedro advanced to the Imperial Age. Anyone else going into the Imperial Age? We have Empathy and Havoc going up. The 2 players from TaToH's Professors. That's the Khmer And Ethiopian, strong civilizations. And there we go, anarchy being made. Barracks being plopped up. And Pedro's on a healthy population. I think as Goss, you probably want about 130 villagers at least. And it looks like Pikeman's going to be the first upgrade. We'll see how that goes. The Goths in the late game actually get a pretty decent economy. They get all the upgrades on their farms and the bow saw up, the double bit X. Nope! Two-man saw upgrade. So that bodes well for late game. Not to mention 10 extra population. You learned the hard way, trust me. I think it's very situation dependent, but you're probably right. In lower numbers, conquistadors definitely work. And there's a Rembai going to run straight into the castle of Philip. Philip will go for Mangadai eventually. A lot of players up to the Imperial Age. I think this is a window of opportunity for Pedro. Now, Pedro doesn't want to be defending with these Huskarls. He, in fact, wants to get through the walls. But Huskarls are not going to do anything against the Khmer player. The Khmer player is going to be so strong. Rembai looking for something to raid. They can get through a house real quick. And this will be a good raid. We'll be able to idle a lot of farmers. So this is a big problem. Yeah, that's not going to work. The Rembai are deceptively good at getting through buildings. So forward town center for Pedro. That'll be a great pushing point. Let's see if Havoc notices. Yeah, looks like he's noticed. And a castle here for Havoc to lock down these two resources in this area of the map. Pedro should build a few Huskarls, but it's too late. Those villagers are dead, and I see no other villagers here. So, oh, there's a few here. But now the elephants are in the area. And so far, Pedro hasn't done anything. Pedro's coming back with his Huskarls to defend from this Rembai raid, who ran in under the castle. And look at how many farms are idle. This is really slowing Philip down. Philip needs a lot of food for his Mangadai upgrades. All of these farms are idle. That's like 20 farmers. And more villagers going down for Philip. Philip's got a lot of villagers, but he doesn't want them to be idle. A few barracks coming up from Pedro. Pedro will probably go into halberdiers with so many of these elephants around. A lot of players going into their unique units. I saw Casbah and Elite Camel Archer being made. So Casbah's probably only going to help the Burmese player if they decide to go for more Rembai. And here we go. Now the action started. Philip has been severely put back by losing so much food economy by that Rembai raid. He has not made the elite Mangadai upgrade, and now these halberdier and battle elephants are in the area. Going to go for the castles. We have Havoc starting with some siege. He's already researching siege onager. Up in the north, it looks like these barracks will get taken down. We have a few Shotel warriors from Havoc. What's going on in the bottom? We have the Koreans player. Koreans player's made Halb not that strong. What we want to see from the Koreans player is the siege onager upgrade. So the Koreans and the Ethiopians pretty much mirror each other. Both of them make Halbs, both of them make siege onagers, which have different bonuses. And taking a look at the score, this is a fairly even game. Right now, Havoc doesn't have any support from his Burmese ally, so he's going to have to go back. What is the Burmese player going to do? I don't see any military out from our Burmese player. Wow. And where's the military count? 15 military for the Burmese player. It's all down here. So Rembai will be very good against Huskarls. It's probably anything the Goths can throw at them. J squared and Philip pushing back. Going to take up a lot of space, but probably won't get past these castles. Down on the bottom, it looks like one castle will get taken out by our Koreans player, Eru, who's got a nice fortification. Nice pushing for it, but how's he going to deal with these battle elephants? I think there are too many, even for Halberdier. And this is a great combination. Look at this. Elite battle elephant and camel archer. And that castle does stay up. So this combination is going to need something else. We're going to need Pedro to certainly provide a lot more support. Players, hopefully, will be getting up to 200 population. But none of them have quite reached it. The closest is going to be Philip at 180, which is great. He's the Mongols player. Mangadai going to deny some things. Not too much. So top side's really not going anywhere. And the bottom side, they'll get pushed back. This is going to be very difficult to deal with. It's going to be 2 castles down from Iru. A lot of production buildings. He'll have to rebuild behind. And a lot of this might just come down to the Civ matchup. So those Halbs dying pretty instantly. What's the best combination against this? It's going to be a lot of Halbs from the Goths player. And hope to get lucky with those Siege Onagers. I think Siege Onagers and Halbs can work. And perhaps some Huskarls to help deal with Camel Archers. I just don't see a whole lot from Pedro. Pedro should be at 210. He's at 170. The biggest priority for these players has to be, now that all these upgrades have been made, getting to 200 population. And let's see if these Siege Onagers can get a good hit on those Mangadai. I don't think torsion engines has been made yet, but I guess we'll see as they start raining hot balls of fire. And fairly mobile unit compositions for these players, and that said, the Khmer Elephant moves quite a bit faster, so I guess we can say that's mobile. Elephants are just so strong in the late game, I do think they need a nerf, as these Halbs will get cleaned up eventually. Part of that is due to the trample damage of the elephants. It's taking quite a while to clean up this area. We don't see any rams or anything along those lines. There's neither of these civilizations get siege ram, I think. Maybe the Khmer do, maybe they don't. Team walls coming up from both players, they'll be starting trade. That's a nice hill for Havoc. If he can somehow get a castle on it, and this would be also a nice hill for J squared. So Siege Engineer is going to be made. And Chaos to win, not surprisingly. Going into Battle Elephants. So this is an interesting dynamic. This game we have 2 Battle Elephant civilizations. 2 Rise of Rajas civilizations. For TaToH's Professors, and I think that's a big advantage. You're going to want Battle Elephants over Paladins. Difference is a good amount of HP. A little bit of armor for the Burmese. And a lot of attack. Big Siege Onager shots, killing tons of Mangadai. So many Mangadai going down, and that's exactly what NC team didn't need. Now we have some Bombard Towers. The Koreans player. And again, another Siege Onager shot in return. Oh god! That's even better than the one on the Mangadai. Oh my god, that's why you want a Korean's ally in the late game. And that's gonna push everything back. Wow, that was so many down. So both teams trading Siege Onager shots. However, this momentum continues for the Burmese player. So the Mangadai are doing hardly any damage. The Mangadai are just for the Halbs, you have to assume. Now, the Paladins can't handle Battle Elephants either, so the obvious choice here, obvious for me, would be to go Inquisition Monks for the Spanish player. However, we don't see that, and that might be a decision or an oversight that might lose them the game. Paladins can't handle the Battle Elephants, so it's either going to be Halbs or Monks, and Monks will be much stronger. Especially with Inquisition, maybe could even pick off some Siege Onagers too, and capture some of those. Without that transition real quick, they're going to die on the side. Meanwhile, on the bottom, it remains pretty even. And I think a lot more trade for TaToH's Professors team. I'm very impressed with their showing this game. NC is one of the strongest clans in Age of Empires 2. Among the ones that are in ECL, if you consider them clans. But NC is an extremely formidable team. Hello to nobody, thank you. You were a sonch. Appreciate it. The trebuchet's parked right under the castle. You don't want to lose your castles as the Mongols. We all know that. And still no monks. Still no monks from J Squared. J Squared's the lowest scored in the game. It's going to take this fight against the Battle Elephants. But look at this Paladin. This Paladin's losing HP and it's not even being attacked because of that trample damage. Siege Onager coming in from Philip to help out on this side. But that's not what they need. They need monks. And I don't see any monks. Battle Elephant's getting really close to the trade line. And once you hit the trade line, it's game over. And on the north side, still not a whole lot going on. Now we have a heavy Scorpion transition from Empathy. Looks like they still need the double crossbow upgrade, but they'll be very strong. Tons of Camel Archers from Peter Pan. And in that mass, they should do okay against the Huskarls. Doing at least 2 damage, I believe. Maybe 3 damage. Oh fuck, it's Friday, I'm streaming later. Yes? To avoid confusion, of course. Oh wow, that's a first for me. Pronouncing the name of someone in the chat correctly. I tried my best. Yeah, that almost never happens. Okay. So we're going to see, instead of monks, we're going to see halberdier again. I highly disagree with that. I think monks would have been the proper decision. Especially playing as the Spanish. Especially with their dual purpose of being able to convert the siege onagers as well. We'll see how the Halbs do. They need to put up a stand right here, right now. Alan's going to take out a few siege units to help slow down the push. Here comes a castle for Havoc. We have 2 castles here ready to make trebuchets, I'm sure, from Philip. Another one in the back. And this game, I'd like to applaud Eru's efforts. When you're playing as the Koreans, I don't think you're expected to do as much as Eru has done this game. Just building his base forward and getting a lot of great kills with the siege onagers. He's done an excellent job this game. Definitely MVP for his team. Monks, what do I think this is? A Mr. GPN game? It could be. Obviously, J-Score didn't go for monks because he can't micro them as well as you, Mr. GPN. I'm sure that's the reason why. But now a good mass of Mangadai being brought up once again. He'll be able to take out the Halbs. And where are the Battle Elephants? Where are the Battle Elephants from our Burmese player? The 20 military only from Chaos to win. Where are these Battle Elephants? I don't know. I'm looking for red across the mini-map and I just don't see it. Chaos to win, not having great production. Oh my god! What happened in Peter Pan's base? He's at 50 villagers. Maybe that's probably, I guess he deleted villagers. I didn't see any great big raids this game. Maybe there was a big Huskarl raid? And these Huskarls are going to deny a castle. So Pedro really focusing on the middle of the map, while Eru's got great defensive units. He's got trebuchets, bombard towers, and siege onagers, and can just spam Halbs here forever. So this is a good area for Eru to hold, while the Goths player can instead push into the middle of the map. And I was looking at the villagers to see, I don't think players have enough villagers at this stage of the game. Look at the populations for TaToH's Professor's team. We have 180, 175, 152, and 125. Look at the populations for the NC team. 205, 190, 164, 161. Their villager numbers are much healthier. Yeah, I can understand why Peter deleted villagers. He's got a healthy population. But some of these other players, especially Havoc, does not look very good. So I think you should only be deleting villagers if you're maybe 180 population and higher, which obviously Peter Pan is. We're approaching that. And now we have Heavy Scorpion from the Mongols player as well. So no more unit transitions this game unless we'll see monks. All the upgrades have been made. And it's just down to micromanagement, getting your teammate to be in the right place at the right time. And I guess keeping up with macro to determine who will win the rest of the game. So I love the position of Pedro. Pedro's right here in the middle of the map. Really focused on getting that middle of the map. And with that, might be able to raid with Huskarls, take out some of these castles sneakily with these Huskarls. Looks like the NC team has a lot of momentum. With all these bombard towers and still more being made, I think this area will stay up for quite some time, and it's going to take a long time for these camel archers and battle elephants to eventually make it into the base. And I think that'll be enough time for either Pedro or Philip and J-Square to do some damage on the top. The first thing they can do is take out these castles, which will limit Chaos to Win's Arebi production. And these castles as well are protecting their economy. Huskarl comes from the words house and men. Oh, I didn't know that at all. Now I wonder why it comes from those words. And it seems a lot less cool now, thanks. In your opinion, Pedro spamming husks towards Peter's team should be a winning move. I think it will be too. I think it's a great idea. However, it is going to get cleaned up temporarily by these battle elephants. Siege Onager shots coming in from all over the place. This base structure is nice. It helps to protect and shield the Siege Onagers behind all these buildings where the Hussar can't get to them. And just Arrow's job is just to hold as long as possible, build a ton of buildings and bombard towers and hold. While the rest of his team continue to push in. And just the player I'm most disappointed on in this game is probably going to be Chaos to Win. I think just Battle Elephants is just a winning unit against this army composition. But we don't see enough of them. I think Chaos to Win probably need a lot more economy this game. Still only at 165 population. He's going to even be pop capped at 180 now that he's lost some of his castles. They're in personal service to someone. Interesting. Where does the big shield come from then? Every Age of Empires game, Age of Empires 2 and Age of Mythology, the ones I'm most familiar with, have a Huskar with a big shield. I'm guessing that's just an Age of Empires lore. It has no historical basis. So it looks like these Mega Knights will get pushed up the hill. Scorpions are a good unit, especially, again, a dual purpose. Actually pretty good against elephants. A good support anyway. So again, more progress is being made on the right side. But again, Eero just needs to hold as long as possible. But it looks to be getting harder and harder. It's just about the positions. Chaos to Win is much, I'm sorry, the NC team is much closer to the trade line, is making progress faster than the other team is making on the bottom side. And what they honestly want to do is... I think it'd be much better if... I know these civilizations don't get good, you know, siege, but what they should do is possibly grab some rams or some bombard cannons and try to batter down this wall real quick and just send the camel archers in there for a big raid. Maybe park themselves onto one of these cliffs. And they shouldn't be going through all the production, in my opinion, of arrows. There's all this empty space in the middle of the map. It would be easy to sneak some siege into this area. They were formidable fighters. Oh, good to know. I always love the historical aspect of Age of Empires 2. Gives you so many things to think about. And endless discussion. Alright, so this is going to be the second to last castle to be lost from Chaos to Win. And now we have siege rams. The Mongols get access to siege rams, and they're very speedy. They're Ferraris, and Philip is doing what I thought the camel archer should do for Peter Pan, which is raid the trade line. They're not even going to bother to take out all the production. They don't need to. All they need to do to win this game is get the Mega Knight in the trade line and hold them there. And what's going to stop this? Some good Siege Onager hits, but these Mega Knight are starting to get spread out. And if Philip is paying attention, maybe he can snipe off that Siege Onager with these 3 Megadai. Nope. Perhaps with these Megadai over here. And it's going to be uphill anyway. And GG. What an excellent game. TaToH's Professors gave it a really good shot. And I thought they were at an advantage in the mid-game. But NC, I guess with their experience, going to push it back. We did see the mistake from J Squared not going into monks, and I thought that would have been a deadly decision, as those battle elephants were getting really close to the front lines on this left side. Who knows what changed the battle in the north? Maybe it was the Bombard Tower, the Halberdier switch, probably the Halberdier switch. The Heavy Scorpions was a good addition as well. And yeah, what an excellent game. So it looks like this kind of map with the 2 players right next to each other is very defensive. So I think I'll prefer the regular Arabia, but I guess we get to see how that map plays itself out. Take a look at the achievements. Hope you enjoyed. Why does it feel like the 2 people didn't switch sides? So the Camel Archers should be against the Mangadai. Yeah, that's a great point, Mr. GPN. The Camel Archers would have destroyed the Mangadai, and they didn't switch sides. Any notable achievements? Major lost a lot of units, but this is typical of the Goths. A lot of units lost from Philip. And there we go. Yeah, that's a great point, Mr. GPN. Perhaps a higher skilled team would have done what you suggested.